transactions T1 and transaction T2. There are two transactions. The transaction T1 has to know the average salary of all the employees. Transaction T1 has to know salary of employee, say 120. Transaction T1 has to know the average salary of employees, whereas transaction T2 has to know the salary of employee number 120 from the same database, from the same table. Now, both the transactions take place simultaneously. Say, this transaction is to select average salary from EMP transaction T2 select select salary from EMP where E number equal to 120. Now, suppose there is a bit of difference of the arrival time of these two transactions T1 and T2. Say this transaction reaches to the processor first and it fetches the average salary into the main memory. Say this is 30,000. Okay. Transaction T1 fetches the value and stores this value into the main memory. Now, transaction T2, while fetching data of the salary from the secondary memory, gets the same name in the main memory and without going to the secondary memory fetches this data and gives it to the processor. Which one is the incorrect value? Why? Because transaction T2 has to take the value from the secondary memory and it did not take the value from secondary memory, it fetched the data from main memory and that one is the incorrect value. So, this data, this value is a phantom data or phantom record. So, what happens in this? In place of getting the actual record from the secondary memory, the transaction fetches data from somewhere else without going to the secondary memory and that value that has been fetched from anywhere else other than the secondary memory is the inconsistent value. Okay. So, these were the two problems, lost update problem and phantom phenomenon. In lost update problem, what happens? The transactions made by one transaction, the updates made by one transaction is overwritten by another transaction. So, the update made by the previous transaction is wiped out, whereas in phantom phenomenon what happens? The transaction fetches data that is not the actual data, that is a phantom data or record and that one is the inconsistent value. In the next class we shall understand inconsistent read problem. So, for the day, thank you.